All right, guys, so here we are inside the 2023 Ford Mustang Mach-E. Again, fully electric version of the Mustang. A lot of people are not too familiar with the features in this vehicle, so we are doing a quick test drive just to show you guys what it is and what to expect. So first off, one of the things you notice right away, you do have a wireless charger for your phone. That's nice because it eliminates having all these cables all over the place. And it does also have wireless Apple Carplay and Android Auto. Unlike most vehicles though, in most vehicles, you're going to want to use your Apple CarPlay or your Android Auto because the GPS system, a lot of times it's laggy. It's not always updated like Apple's system, Apple Maps or Google Maps. In this car, it's actually the opposite. Ford's new GPS system is actually, it's very, very nice, a very crisp display, very responsive. And here's why you want to use this, okay? Check this out. Let's say you want to go to San Antonio. This is something that your Apple CarPlay is not, at least as of now, it doesn't do it. Okay, so let's say you're going to type in San Antonio. So let's go San Antonio. Oh, there it is, San Antonio right there. And so you're going to let the GPS load. And now we want to zoom out. I'm going to show you something that's really neat here. Because remember, this is an electric vehicle. So at all times, you need to know where your charger, your nearest charging ports are at. So see this circle right there? That's little San Angelo right there. San Angelo's over here. San Antonio's over here. So that big circle is where you can make it in this car before it actually dies on you. So see that charging port right there? That tells you that that's your next stopping point. So again, remember 314 miles of range, very important to remember. Unlike a gasoline vehicle, most gasoline vehicles, when it says you have 0 miles to empty, usually still have about 10-15 miles to go before it really dies on you. Electric vehicles are not like that. Electric vehicles, if you're on loop 306 and it says you're on 1 mile to empty, you have 1 mile before that car parks in the middle of 306. So make sure you keep track of that. Another thing that's really important in comparison to the Model Y, the Model Y customers, a lot of them, if you go on forums and stuff like that, a lot of them complain that there's no center screen, there's no dashboard screen for the driver. Okay, so they have a big screen, a big nice screen like this, and it's a very nice screen just like Ford's, but that's the only screen in basically the entire car. A lot of people, it's hard to get used to that. You know, it kind of reminds me of Mini Coopers used to do that back in the day, and I always thought they were kind of quirky and kind of weird looking, and I just couldn't get used to that every time I test drove one. But this actually has a screen in front of the driver. So you have all your information here. You have right now we're at 37%. It's got 93 miles to go. You got your ready right here. That's telling you that the vehicle is on, because a lot of times it's easy to forget whether your vehicle's on or not because there's no engine sound coming from it. So on the right, you have your digital speedometer. Then you have your speed limit sign, which is kind of neat. A lot of times if you're driving in Dallas or you're driving in San Antonio, you're not used to the speed limit. That's going to be a very useful feature right there because it reminds you whether you're speeding or not. So another big thing that this vehicle has is called a Blue Cruise. So Blue Cruise is Ford's take on the new Autopilot type of driving. And I'm going to demonstrate that while we're on the loop up here. So far, Ford has mapped out about 100,000 miles worth of actual streets, and what I mean by that, it's probably going to be about mostly interstates. They're in the process of just expanding that. As of right now, they have about 100,000, and that's where you can drive 100% hands-free. You can let go of the steering wheel, and the car will just go. You can tap the signal, your signal light like that, and it'll switch lanes for you. It knows if there's a car where you don't have enough distance to switch lanes. That's your Blue Cruise. That's where 100,000 miles of road, that's going to work 100% of the time. In the places where it hasn't been mapped out yet, you can do the lane change. You can do everything that I just said, but you do have to keep your hands on the steering wheel. You can either keep them up here or you can kind of rest them down here, but you do have to have the weight of your hands on the steering wheel for it to work. Another neat thing about this, you see this little, I don't know if you can zoom in on that, but it looks kind of like a dark glossy screen right there. That's actually just kind of a laser that shoots out towards your eyes, and it's going to read whether your eyelids are keeping open or are they shut, are you falling asleep, or what are you doing. And the reason that's important, if you guys have ever driven out of town a lot. A lot of people out here in West Texas, it's like an everyday thing. And if you ever start falling asleep, the car will actually give you a notification telling you to wake up to keep your eyes on the road. So if you don't open your eyes, it's actually going to shake you. It's going to tap on your brakes, and not in a violent way where the person in front and behind you, like you're going to brake check that person. It's not going to be anything like that. I've already tried it out myself, and it's nothing like that. What it's going to do is it's going to slightly tap the brake repeatedly. So it's going to feel like somebody's kind of shaking you, telling you to wake up. And I mean, if you don't wake up after that, then you got bigger problems, I guess. But that being said, let's go and start this test drive, and I'm going to demonstrate most of these features while we're on the road, okay? All right, guys, so here we are on the test drive demonstration of the 2023 Ford Mustang Mach-E. And again, we're demonstrating this test drive mainly to show you what and how the Blue Cruise feature works, because not a lot of people are familiar with it. A lot of people have never heard of it, and most Ford vehicles just don't have it yet. You know, this is reserved for mainly the electric vehicles. And the way you engage it, we're right here in San Angelo, Loop 306 right now. We're going about 73 miles an hour. If you push this cruise control button just the same way that you do in every single vehicle that you've ever used the cruise control function on, you're going to tell it that you want to use cruise control. Little green light turns on right there. It's a pretty generic cruise control logo that you'll see in just about every vehicle, like I said. There's no speed set yet. All it's saying is that you have turned the cruise control function on. You're going to set it just like, again, same way you would in any vehicle. And right there I have set it at 72 miles an hour. You can accelerate and decelerate just like you would, right there, up and down. I'm going to get down to about 67. There we go. So now you have the option of just using this as your regular plain old cruise control. If you're that customer that just can't get used to this new stuff, you have the option on here where you can just turn all this stuff off and it'll just work like a regular cruise control that you're used to. Okay, so here we go. So this is, when you turn this feature on, this little button right here, you're gonna tell it that you want to use the hands-free mode, and it's gonna use all the sensors and all the cameras around the vehicle to start reading the area around you. So if there's a car to your left, it's not going to let you switch lanes. Same thing to the right or whatever. If you can see out here, there's a solid line to my left, so it will not switch lanes because it knows there's a solid line. It's a no passing zone. And by the way, the speed limit just went down to 55, and without doing anything, it just automatically got me down to 55. So there you go. It saved you some money right there from speeding tickets. But here we go. So as I'm driving, I have the Blue Cruise actually engaged because I hit this button right here. Now, if I let go of the steering wheel, it is going to drive itself for just a little bit, and then it's going to tell me to put my hands back on the steering wheel. Okay, and let's try that for a second here. There we go. I'm getting a visual. It says keep hands on steering wheel. And there are cars around me. And then now it's turning red. Now it's giving me an audible warning. And as soon as I put my hands back on the steering wheel, it leaves you alone. So you don't have to steer the vehicle. It just does it all on its own. Right there, there's a car to my right. I cannot switch lanes, but if I put my signal light, it's just not going to switch lanes. So same thing to my left. There's a solid line. There's just nothing there. If I put my signal light to the left, it's not going to do it. And what I'll do here, let's go ahead and pass these cars, and then it'll let me switch lanes. There we go. Now, the other feature I want to show you guys, this that little camera that just reads your eyes at all times. So I'm going to pretend I have my eyes closed. Don't freak out on me, camera girl. All right. But if I just kind of close, I can still see the road, but the camera is going to think that I have my eyes shut. It is going to tell me, it's already telling me I can see it right now. And I'm going to keep pretending I have my eyes closed. starting to shake me to wake me up. It's tapping on the brake. And it does it just enough to wake up most people, I would imagine. So that's Blue Cruise for you guys. Keep in mind that because Blue Cruise has only been mapped in about 100,000 miles worth of streets, mainly that's interstate driving for the most part in the U.S. It's not going to 100% work hands-free. It's going to work the way I am demonstrating it right now. The Blue Cruise, where you don't have to have your hands on the steering wheel at any times, is only going to work within those 100,000 miles of mapped roads. Ford, you can go on Ford's website and it'll actually show you where all those mapped areas are. And in your vehicle, the way you know if you're driving on one of those interstates or one of those roads that's been mapped out is the cruise control logo that I was pointing at earlier. That turns green when you turn on the cruise control. Actually turns blue. So that's a very easy way of knowing whether you can use your hands free or whether you have to have the weight of your hands on the steering wheel. So and that basically wraps up Blue Cruise right there. Alright guys, that concludes our test drive demonstration of the 2023 Ford Mustang Mach-E. If you want to come and drive it, you want to come experience this in person with me, just come and find me. My name is Braulio. I work here at Jim Bass Cars and Trucks.